I am. I've been doing a bit of looking at various markets, various investments, obviously keeping an eye on things. And something that I thought was quite interesting that I came across today was I was looking at share prices. I've got a client of mine who works for Apple, who has a lot of shares, the employee share scheme, so owns a lot of shares in Apple. So a lot of her money's tied up there. So I thought I'd have a look at the share prices, see how things are doing. What's really interesting, if you look at Apple's share price over the last 6 months, on the 30th of September 2019, 6 months ago, it was $223.97 a share. Now today is $247.74 a share. So it's actually higher than what it was 6 months ago. So although it's been a bit volatile and it seems to have come down a lot since 6 weeks ago, so mid-Feb was about $323 a share. Yes, it's come down from there, but it's still up from where it was 6 months ago. So it's quite interesting how people are viewing the markets and saying how things have crashed, blah, blah, blah. It's only down if you got in at the peak. So people that got in February and bought shares then, yes, they're down. But people that got in 6 months ago, they're up. So they've made a profit. And, same sort of, economic cycles. I guess it's similar with property. If you buy at the top of the market and then there is a slight correction, you're not going to make much money. But if you buy at the right time ahead of, potential spike, then you're going to do well. And, all the research that is coming out at the minute, there was a Savills report that I know a lot of people have been reading, is saying that the markets in the UK are going to sort of ripple a little bit. They're going to, fluctuate slightly over the next, next quarter. There's not going to be a huge amount of growth. However, come end of the year, they're expecting, and into next year, they're expecting a spike. It's something we've been saying for a while. It's what happens when you've got people sitting on the sidelines waiting for that clarity or waiting for that certainty. As soon as that certainty arrives, then they come into the market, and that forces a bit of an upward curve. There's also obviously a lot of people that are waiting to move house in the UK, and not just investors, as in people, residential owner occupiers moving house. That's all been put on hold. Because removal companies aren't physically doing the moves or as many moves. Banks are taking longer with the lending due to staff shortages. Surveyors aren't able to go and value the property. So these things are taking a while. So again, what's going to happen is maybe 3 months down the line, when things hopefully will have settled down, there'll be a nice wave of transactions going through, which again, boosts the market, boosts the confidence, will keep the prices, increasing. It is all about buying at the right time. And I think now there's a great opportunity. Now really is a good time. While everyone else is sitting on the sidelines waiting, there are a handful of incredibly smart investors who are getting into the market. And I think there's some people that are waiting for a crash, which realistically I don't think is going to happen due to the measures that have been put in place by the UK government. But, there is going to be a spike. It makes total sense that there's going to be a wave of people completing their transactions within the next, 3 to 6 months once lockdowns have ended, and a lot of pent-up money that is sitting on the sidelines waiting to come in. Again, if people have got money sitting there doing nothing, get it working for you now. Get it into an off-plan property that will give you interest on deposited funds, first of all. Some of our projects have got 3%, which beats the banks by an unbelievable amount. Get your money into an off-plan property, get it working for you. If the markets do dip slightly in the next quarter, and then they come back up and they spike again at the end of the year, if you've got something that's completing next year, what happens this year is slightly irrelevant. So, the key is getting your money working for you rather than sitting in the bank earning 0.1% interest and not working for you at all. It's not really doing anything.